$5.5 million. That's how much assistance to small business owners in Minnesota is now frozen. And you can thank the Democrat leaders who let fraud run wild for that. SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler placing the blame on Governor Tim Walz, calling out his policies as breeding, quote, endemic fraud.
In a letter to the governor, she writes this, quote, "What happened in Minnesota is the consequence of socialist policies deliberately designed to pump out welfare funding without oversight or accountability." Joining us now with reaction, Minnesota Fraud Prevention Committee Chair, State Representative Kristin Robbins. She's also running for governor in the state of Minnesota. Representative Robbins, so good to have you tonight. I'm really curious about your thoughts on the freezing of these funds from the SBA. You know, on the one hand, I think many of us can understand why Secretary Loeffler is making that move. But on the other hand, these are funds that would otherwise be going to your state for small businesses. So how do you suss that out?
You know, it's really unfortunate that we've had to have this step taken, but it's really important that we stop the fraud. I saw in the statement that they've identified that some of the people from Feeding Our Future also got these loans from the SBA. And we discovered in our committee last week that a Feeding Our Future defendant has also been billing the government for assisted living services. So we have to be able to stop the fraud so that vulnerable Minnesotans get the services they need and that legitimate businesses get the support they need.
Representative, how long did you know that something was fishy about this group Feeding Our Future? I mean, was it an open secret before the governor admitted that there was a problem, before the AG, who claims he's now fixing the problem, but it was actually seems to have been a part of it? Was it like a secret that everybody really knew about?
You know, I think we began to understand it in layers. When the Federal Office of U.S. Attorney and the FBI first did the raids and had the indictments, we were all really surprised. But then as we've gone through the years of the court cases and the indictments and the charges, now we've seen the layers of it. So that's what led to autism centers and now non-emergency medical transportation and the fraud we found in adult daycare and 14 other programs that are Medicaid waivered services. So that was the first case that sort of led to all the layers being unpeeled.
You know, I'm seeing, Representative, you know, according to the U.S. Attorney there in Minnesota, the fraud goes back to 2018. I mean, we're talking years and years of fraudulent activity, allegedly. How can that happen? Why did it take so long for it to be discovered? And what needs to change moving forward?
Absolutely. And it's really a failure of Tim Walz and his administration to do basic internal controls in these programs and to hold people in these agencies accountable. So there were whistleblowers from early on that said, we think there's a problem here, things are not looking right, the programs were growing too fast, but they always turned a blind eye, and whistleblowers were retaliated against and felt threatened. And so this year, once the fraud committee formed, then people had another avenue to report fraud where they knew they would be taken seriously. And so we've helped expose the fraud. We've helped keep pressure on the agencies by having hearings. And so belatedly now they're coming to the table. But they turned a blind eye for years.
But there is a whistleblower's law in Minnesota. By statute, any employer who interferes with a whistleblower is trying to report on state or federal laws being broken could go to jail, could be arrested and go to jail. And the Social Service Workers Union claims that one of those people was the governor himself, that he was threatening, his office was threatening them, the whistleblowers, and that's against the law. Are you trying to bring the governor to justice?
Yes, we are all looking at it carefully. I mean, what we're uncovering is based on what the whistleblowers say, and based on that and emails and different direct evidence, we're building the case. But clearly, they turned a blind eye for it for years. People do have reports of being retaliated against and surveilled in their place of work. And that's why I led the charge to expand the whistleblower protection. So we passed a bill last session that instead of whistleblowers being required to report up through their agency or to the Attorney General, they now can report to legislators or to law enforcement and still receive that whistleblower protection. And that, when they had more avenues to report, that's how we started getting more reports. It's been incredible what the people who have come forward.
You know, Representative, finally, just to wrap this up, you know, you are running to be governor, the next governor of Minnesota, the Republican candidate there. You know, one kind of issue that's been discussed is that there was a reluctance from Governor Walz to, you know, address this head on because it would become a voting issue. He didn't want, and his supporters didn't want to go after, in particular, the Somali community that has been tied to this fraud. Your thoughts on that particular issue and holding people accountable and how that could play out in this election, you know, as you are now, pursuing the governor's office?
Absolutely. We have dozens of credible whistleblower reports saying that exact same thing, that people were told not to say anything because they'd be called racist or Islamophobic or it would hurt the state. And so people tried to come forward but were shut down. And that protection of a particular community is what really allowed this fraud to flourish in Minnesota for years. But we have said very publicly that, yes, the bulk of the fraud we've discovered so far is in the Somali community, but some of our best whistleblowers are also in the Somali community. And it's really important that we get to the truth of this issue. And so by failing to call it out, we allowed it to continue, and that has hurt Minnesotans tremendously, taxpayers and our vulnerable citizens.
Well, you're not alone, by the way. The federal agents are looking into all of this, particularly from Treasury Department. I've got some familiarity with those folks. They are dogged agents. They're going to get to the bottom of this. So you've got Treasury officials coming in there as well. Representative Kristin Robbins, good luck on the campaign trail, and thank you for being here. Please come back and see us.
Thank you for having me. Merry Christmas.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas.